Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. We are back, which must mean it is about Christmas time. The Santa hat. Also, a bit of a giveaway. Fantastic action to look forward to on Boxing Day. Plenty racing from Kempton to be analysing in a few moments' time, and also the Roller Merrick as well, which we're having a look at from Wetherby. We are back for our one slot per year. My name's Luke Elder, Adam Webb, Callum Medell, and Michael Andrews alongside me. Gentlemen, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It was a bit of a it gets harder every single year to actually do this show because everything changes and we're a year out of practice. But we're here. It might not go well, but we're here.
We are, and we're only 5 minutes late for once. It's not like we're half an hour late, which tends to be the case.
In fairness, usually Michael is the problem.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Callum Medell, what do you have to say for yourself?
I had to download some sort of plugin, and it meant I was delayed for a few minutes. But look, I've got all the time in the world. It's only one of us that has to leave early. So
I hate you all.
Okay, there are 3 golden rules to an On the Other Hoof Christmas as well. We've got any festive attire. Callum, where's your festive attire?
I've got my Cardinals hat.
No, that's not Christmassy in the slightest. The Cardinals never make it to December. Oh.
Well, we make it to December. We're still playing.
Just not for anything.
Yeah.
Does anyone else get this? I'm assuming is American football joke.
I get the reference. Not that I'm interested in it, but I understand what he's going on about.
It's a niche. It's a niche joke. But
that'll be like us, Adam, listening to your preview later on. A festive drink.
Yeah, I've got a drink.
What have you got?
I have a glass of wine.
Oh, hello. Callum Medell is sophisticated.
Yeah. Mainly because I had no beer in the fridge.
It says, I am employed.
We like a wine anyway. So.
Michael, who is also employed.
Oh yes, Corona.
And
It's the first time I've been employed on this podcast. Sorry, just in the zone. On this YouTube. Are we on YouTube?
On the Oto.
Oh, the Oto, yeah.
And Adam?
Yep, we've got a festive drink, vodka and Coke, Santa hat, Christmas jumper.
Does your Christmas jumper light up?
Is it flashing?
Yeah.
I never thought we'd say Adam's been flashing, but there it is.
I never thought I'd be happy about it either.
I thought we'd see it, but we'd only read it.
I have gone for, you can't tell because it's in a horse racing mug, but it's eggnog.
Oh, very nice.
Why earth eggnog?
Yeah.
It's eggs.
Well, eggs are a part of it, yeah. There is another part of being an On the Other Hoof festive thing, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, anyway. So something you glaze over and you move on.
Secret Santa! There we go, Secret Santa. That's what it was. We'll get to that in due course, because all of us have received our Secret Santa after a slight scare. But we are going to jump straight in with the... oh, yeah, you'll be fine, Adam. Don't worry. We're going to jump straight in with the previews because Michael is having a bitch fit and wants to leave. Kempton is where we shall start off with. Adam, I'm going to go to you first because I know you've looked most at the racing. The 120 shall be our first race to talk about.
Novices Handicap Chase. It's a cracking contest on paper. It's a race that always throws up some...
Does everybody just...
Well, I'm here.
I'm here.
Callum, what do you think of the 120 again?
I was really hoping I could have a quick look at this before...
I'll tell you what, I'll go first because I actually have a fancy in this race.
Okay.
Has Adam now come back?
I don't know.
Yeah,
You are back. You are back. Adam, keep on talking. This is On the Other Hoof.
This is brilliant.
Adam, 120
Merry
Kempton.
Christmas.
Adam, talk. Oh no, he's gone.
Right, he's gone. Okay, I'll take over the mantle. Deloro. Surprised about it wouldn't be.
Knew it. Gary Moore. Nothing's changed. He's put a Gary Moore horse up. We've never been away, boys.
Callum, do not shoot your bolt too early because there might be a Sue Smith horse coming later on. Deloro is a horse that I love. I loved all the hurdles last year. It wasn't too beneficial in terms of actually winning, but he was usually thereabouts. Last time around, he made a really pleasing chase debut at Chesterfield. As you know, Chesterfield is a very, very useful individual for Seamus Mullins. And for the most part of the race, it looked like he was going to go away and win. He didn't exactly meet the last on a good stride. He made a slight mistake, and that was that. Chesterfield outsped him. It was over a bit shorter than this as well, so I'd expect the slight stepping trip to suit Del Oro. I thought that he'd be the way to start off this show for us. It's around 8-1 at the moment. I think that's a fair each way price, in all honesty, for Gary and Josh Moore. So, Callum, why break a habit?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it was pretty much a nap that you were going to go for it, but there we go.
At least one of us has landed a nap in this show.
Yeah, that's good.
What are you going for?
Is it my turn?
It is.
This is always quite an interesting race. I think I always find it interesting the fact that a lot of trainers try and target horses that sometimes haven't even run over fences first time out, using their hurdle marks and can potentially find a lot of improvement. Nicky Henderson, one of those trainers. I know his Love Spirit has already run over fences and won first time out odds on. But I think that Mark's very fair. He's won 3 of the last 8 renewals, and I liked him over hurdles. You know, he runs in some really good races last year, including 6th at the festival, not beaten far in a real grueling Betfair hurdle. And I think there's improvement to come over fences as a 6-year-old. He also has had a wind up since his last run, so he'd be the one that would stand out for me off his mark. I'm also interested in Envoy Special, I think is how you'd pronounce it. French horse, had 1 run behind Kalashnikov on his UK debut. I don't think he was disgraced. He made 1 mistake around midway. Has been beat by a horse I really rate very highly in Kalashnikov. He's been dropped £3. I think it's very fair. And I think it's quite interesting that he's running here. He might be a little bit tricky. He's got a hood and a tongue tie on, which would suggest he's not the most straightforward, but he's in the very best of hands to get the best out of him with Paul Nicholls. I just think it's interesting that he's here. I think, maybe if he's a horse that needs a bit of time, you think you wouldn't stick him in a real grueling competitive handicap on Boxing Day. But the fact they have, and he is the sort of price he is, I think you'd be happy to chance him around 14-1, which is a bigger price for a horse from that's related to who he is. His half brother to De Boncoeur as well, which is one of Michael's favourite horses. And he's quite interesting at a bigger price, but certainly Love Spirit would be the one that would stand out.
I love that Spirit then at $4. I mentioned Kalashnikov in passing there. Kalashnikov, of course, we'll see over the festive period at Kempton on the 27th, and we very much look forward to doing so. Adam, we'll go back to you in hope for better luck this time.
Hopefully. I don't know what on earth happened then. The internet's been absolutely fine, touch wood. I mean, it just went haywire then. Everything's running slowly as well. So I started by mentioning Glenn Forza, who represents last year's connection, not winning connections, but the horse at the second, Mr. Whitaker. He's got a very similar profile, had some quiet starts over hurdles, made a nice chase debut at Chepstow over 3 miles, just short of that. I don't think the drop in trip will be any issue because he raced quite keenly on that occasion, and he's guaranteed pace in the race. Delir Destraval's going to go forward. Lockberg Spirit you'd expect to go forward. Also, Warthog should go forward as well. Warthog I'd be more concerned about here. He got a very soft lead in a race that fell apart at Sandown. It was literally the equivalent of wacky races. And I think with pressure to the lead, I think he'll wilt. The selection actually is a horse that finished behind him on that occasion. I thought Turtle Wars was a very unlucky loser in that contest. He was badly hampered at the 6 by a faller, and I think he's on a really fair mark. He's just open to significant improvement over fences, and I just think he's well handicapped. Norfieldy taking over is no negative whatsoever. Of the Henderson pair, I'd take him over Lockberg Spirit. I liked his chase debut, but I want to see him jump better. So the selection for me with Turtle Wars.
Turtle Wars then for Adam. That was a short preview to start things off.
Well, Michael sat there as if he's counting everything I do, so I better do it quickly.
Michael is good at counting as well. He's been practicing over the last year or so. Talking of Michael, let's get your one selection, which should take about 10 seconds for you.
Yeah, difficult race this. I don't think there's any real standout performers, and the market probably reflects that. I think for me, I'm very interested in Glenn Forza from the same connections as Mr. Whitaker, who obviously turned out to probably be the best of this lot. I know Hell's Kitchen won it and won again last week, benefiting from a really good ride from Barry Geraghty, who ended up on the deck only half an hour later or so. But I thought Mr. Whitaker was the best horse in the race, but he didn't necessarily win that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was respective of Glenn Forza as well. So It's a difficult race, and there's another horse that I did like at one point, Warthog, but I have a feeling I don't think he's the most genuine. I think he definitely needs 3 miles as well. Definitely a staying trip will be for him. So it's a difficult kind of race. It's probably not one I get too involved in, but I think it could be quite a spectacle to watch. And if they go pretty quick, like they do in these kind of races around the flat track of Kempton, it'll be. I think they're not gonna finish in a bunch, and there's a lot in there, but I think there'll be 10 lengths first to third kind of thing. I don't think it'll be a tight finish, but we'll see how they go. I think on balance, I can't really give a selection because I honestly would not be backing any of these. I just think it's way too open and the form is just really difficult right now.
Cheers, Michael. Thank you for that incise punditry with us. Just incidentally about Warthog, I do think he was a bit flattered last time. I thought he got a brilliant ride from David Noonan. I think it was a Sandown. For Sandown, he was the perfect horse. Jump from fence to fence, and that was it.
It helped he was in front because the carnage going on behind him, Jesus Christ, it was awful.
A race that we have seen carnage in recent years, mainly caused by a few in particular individuals, is the Feldham or the Corte Star Novices Chase, which is going to come up next when I get it out. 1:55 is the time of the Corte Star Novices Chase. Adam, you've been beating the drum about Santini for what seems about 10 years now, and here we get a chance to find out how good he is.
Oh, I hope he passes his test with flying colours. He's a horse that I just fell in love with from the day I saw him at Newbury in the paddock. He's just a big, rangy individual. I thought he'd need the run that day. This is his novice hurdle, and he went and beat Schefter's Oboe. And his career ever since, he's done very little wrong. Michael will back me up here because we saw him in the paddock before his first run at Newbury this year. And Michael goes to me, he needs this badly. And yet he snapped back on the bridle between the last 2 fences to beat Rocky's Treasure by 4 lengths. That form was franked by no certain terms by Rocky's Treasure, who ran at an impressive winner of the December Novices Chase at Doncaster, which is also Grade 2. I've got no doubt down the line this is an RSA Chase winner in waiting, a Gold Cup winner in waiting. I'm hoping that on Boxing Day he can show himself to be the real deal. In saying that, though, his price is very short. In a race of this quality, you've got Top of the Game, you've got Bag's Groove, the World's End, the Bag O' War. All of them, I'd say, have got realistic chances of winning. I would like to slightly take on the World's End. I get the feeling that he enjoyed being able to do his own thing for the first circuit and get into that rhythm. Once Ibistra challenged him, he was able to be okay. But I just wonder here, with the likes of Bag's Groove in there, he won't get his own way to begin with, and I just question whether he'd cope with that. Top of the Game, it was a remarkable effort first time out over fences. Or second time out, sorry, at Exeter. He basically, he's just a big gawky thing who missed the start because the tape went up and it scared him. He's run a hell of a race to finish second there. I think the step up to 3 miles will be no issue for him. The Bag O' War, it's her time of the year, and I know that Sam Boswell will be watching and he wants to have a match bet with me for this race. I want one for the RSA, but he's not that keen to go down that route. You've got to respect her getting £7 from these. But if I think Santini's an RSA winner in waiting and a future Gold Cup horse, then if he's not going close here, you've got to be really disappointed. But I'm hoping that he's come on plenty for that Newbury run, and back in Grade 1 company, he can go and deliver.
You've got to get that out every year. Did you guys actually hear that?
No.
It was the SpongeBob thing, the 10 hours later.
Oh, sorry.
Was it? Right. But the one race that Michael doesn't actually count the amount of horses that Adam was talking about. I feel like we're going to be rather pro Santini here, Michael.
No.
Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
Adam is stirring in his non-existent grave.
Adam's never been betrayed like this before.
It's interesting. I actually kind of got pointed out to this and a name drop by Jamie Lynch, who said horse, and I've just been back through and I've actually gone, wow, it really does work. The best horses don't necessarily win this race. If you go back, a lot of them fall, Might Bite, Frodon, horses that are far better than the horses that actually end up winning the race, such as, I think you could say Black Quarton was probably one of the best in that race that year, but Royal Vacation won the year. Might Bite Frodon, Annabelle Fly pulled up. Like a Present Man was fourth. Royal Vacation won. I know Might Bite, but it does happen. A whole lot of horses fall in this race because of the speed they go, and I think it's fair to say that the most experienced horses do tend to win. Last year, Black Quarton obviously had like 1 million runs over the summer. Over chases, and the same could be said about Royal Vacation the year before that. He'd had about 4 or 5. I haven't gone back further, but Jamie Lynch kind of said to me is like he thinks that this could slightly catch Santini out, and I don't know if that's fair, but just at the prices, and I'm very happy to back Santini in the long term. And as I said, I pointed out to Adam, and I think Adam was in a little bit of denial at Newbury when we looked at Santini, and he was like, I don't really want to say it, but when I went, that horse is about 85% fit, and Adam was like, yeah, you're right. Like we didn't really want to admit it, but you kind of knew that when I said it, you were like, yeah, I have to accept this now. But he was amazing to do what he did, and Rocky's Treasure has come out and franked that form since. I do think that on that basis, on just the prices, I would be backing Bags Groove, who would win this race and not win the race there, win any of these races thereafter. I don't think you want a horse as an inexperienced as top of the game over fences. He proved that the year before when he went to fences and fell at Newbury, beats behind Philip Hobbs' horse, can't remember the name. Sorry?
Strong Pursuit.
Yeah. So I think Bags Groove, quite a nippy type, speedy. I think he really does fit the bill, and 5-1 is quite generous actually in the context of this race. Outside of that, I'm very, very much Team Santini, and I'm only avoiding him just to give a slightly divergent opinion and also the price.
Thank you, Michael. Nice to you actually going for a selection this time around. I think Santini, I agree with Michael and Jamie Lynch in a sense that they say that the best horses don't win this race because they, more often than not, they don't. But I think Santini's good enough to get away with it. I was seriously impressed with him last time at Kempton. He answered quite a few questions about himself for me in a sense that I thought that he might have just been more of a one-trick pony. He was an out-and-out galloper, and that was that, which I thought for something like a Feltham, Kurdistan, obviously chase, whatever you wish to call it, I thought that would be the one thing that would catch him out. But the way he got back into the race, I thought he showed plenty of tactical speed. I agree fully with Adam. He's an RSA horse that's waiting to happen. He's a Gold Cup horse that's waiting to happen. But you go away from Santini, top of the game, I've got question marks over. Bags Groove, I'm not sure if he's really this class. I'd like to see him step up once again from what we've seen so far. But Callum, I don't know about you, but I think Santini's got a really good bet in this.
I wouldn't say pretty much Michael, to be perfectly honest. Like he pretty much took every single point I was going to make. Really, I'm with Bags Groove here for a few reasons. Really, I mean, this race, when I seem to recall various renewals, it very often just goes to a horse that is a bold running front runner who just takes the stuffing out of the others in behind them. And there are probably 3 horses that are going to want to make the running here in Bags Groove, World's End, and Le Bagarrois. I do think Bags Groove will lead outright. I don't necessarily think the other 2 necessarily have to or necessarily want to. I think Bags Groove is at the moment a better jumper, more experienced over fences. And yes, it's whether he's good enough. But last time I was very impressed with him. Just the way he was just galloping from the front round Huntingdon, first time over 3 miles. He beat a horse that I think is pretty useful in Thomas Campbell, albeit hasn't reached the heights over fences yet. But I still think is a nice horse. I don't think that form is too far from being able to win this sort of race. Yes, I think the race revolves very much around Santini, who I have a lot of time for. But he's a horse that is largely run on very soft ground. But it's a thorough stayer for me. And yes, I think it's a fallacy that it isn't a staying track, Kempton. But at the same time, you need that real mixture between speed and stamina. And I think the RSA in particular is going to be a perfect race for Santini in the future. I don't think necessarily he could easily get beat here and still win at Cheltenham. And yeah, I think that I think I'm happy to take him on at 6-4, to be honest. For all, I think he's comfortably the best horse in the race. And I think top of the game as well as a horse I have a hell of a lot of time for. But second time out over fences, I wasn't obviously convinced with what happened at the start at Exeter. I think it will take a monumental effort for him to win. For all, I think he's got the ability to do it. I'm very happy taking him on. And yeah, I think Bags Groove is the one that just stands out a mile to me as a horse that's going to jump from the front. be really bold. I think this has been the target for pretty much since then. I think it's the perfect race for him, and I think he can take advantage and be the best on the day, and maybe not necessarily be the best in the future, but he's definitely the one I want to be on for Boxing Day.
Just to add a list of horses that got beat in this race: Barbershop, Native River, Silviniaco Conti, and Bobsworth.
It's like you look at the horses that say you take the last 5 winners since probably Dinas, who was just way too good. You got Anacotti, who led from the front. Good on Nanacotti. Royal Vacation was up there. Black Corton as well, and there's horses in behind it they just can't cope with the jumping test, and they fall and whatever. It's a real thorough test, and Bagsgroove just screams as that sort of horse to me.
I'd agree with you. Bagsgroove is probably the more now horse, and there's plenty of works in progress going forward. But I think it's a fascinating race that the Quarter Star novices chase, and for different reasons, it's a fascinating race to the Christmas Hurdle, which shouldn't really take too much going through, guys, because Bouvardere has already proved that he's the best 2-mile hurdler. If there was any doubt about that before this season, Adam, Bouvardere just wins, doesn't he?
He was so good at Newcastle. And I was so pleased to see it as well, because he'd taken a lot of stick. He clearly wasn't at his best in last year's champion hurdle. And only to just beat Mellon as well. I had my severe doubts about Mellon throughout last season. So I was kind of disappointed to see him get so close to Bouvardere. For all, it was probably a career best from Mellon. The way he brushed Sam Crow aside, it was just so impressive to watch. And Nicky Henderson then went out and said, there's plenty of improvement to come, and if there is, and it's a scary prospect. And he should be winning this very easily. He will get a good pace to aim at because you've got Global Citizen in there. If the Catfits won't want to be too far away, they went slow at Ascot last time, so I can kind of forgive him that. But Dana Blue's in there. She'll want a decent pace too. But it's all about Bouvardere, really. The other 3 hurdlers there I've mentioned are good, solid hurdlers, but they're not in Bouvardere's league.
No, but I think I'd agree with that. I think everyone would agree with that. One thing is for certain, though, Callum, a few years ago, how much of a certainty would Bouvardere have been in that JLT?
Oh, don't. I mean, we did knew.
Was it 14s?
Yeah, he's a brilliant horse. Really should win. It's basically, I mean, I haven't really looked at the without betting. I think it's probably, if you want to have a bet or going to have a bet, it's going to be the market to look at. I would definitely want to be on If the Cat Fits. In that, again, it's a horse I've liked pretty much since he won on this card last year as a novice, and yes, was beat by Verdana Blue in the on his return in the elite hurdle, but I think he came on plenty for it to win Ascot. Yes, I was a little bit disappointed that he hit a bit of a flat spot that day almost, and was still kind of 4th jumping the last, and then just really flew home over the extra trip to win. But I don't think he's slow. He certainly showed plenty of gears when winning here last year. I think he's just going to improve for his racing. I mean, he missed the end of last season, really, and I think he's just taken a bit of time to come to himself this time. And also with the fact that Global Citizen's in there, I think it shows a good gallop, which I think will very much suit him. Eddie Rain, I think, will be a negative for Verdana Blue as well. I haven't really seen the forecast, but at the prices, I don't think there's really much between them, and I do think If the Catfit's got plenty more improvement to come as a hurdler. So for me, I definitely want to be on him to chase home Bouvardere as the potential bet, which I haven't really seen the market, but I assume would be, I mean, if they're 15 to 2, 12 to 1 in the current market, he'll definitely be second favourite in the without market.
That's If the Catfits, who I have to confess, I was not bad mouthing, but talking down his chance in the Supreme to Callum last year after Kempton, and I think I've been proven wrong in that. He'd probably run a big race in the Supreme because he was very impressive last time. I am still a little bit dubious about a drop down 2 miles and a pretty sharply run 2 miles as well. But I mean, we're talking about trying to beat Bouvardere here. It's probably not going to happen unless, touch wood, something goes wrong. But I thought Global Citizen is one that could be very, very good. He beat Lisp last time around, who I think has got a huge handicap in him this season. He ran a huge race in the old Ladbroke Hurdle, whatever it's called now, at Ascot just last week. The winner, Mahia, just got first run on him. He's a county hurdle winner, so we know how good he is to start with. But he took Lisp apart, really, and he won that quite impressively. Going up to the Christmas hurdle, yes, it's a completely different ball game here for Global Citizen, but he's a horse that's always been thought about a horse that's able to eat at the highest sort of table. He gets his chance here. I think, as Callum mentioned, if there's one to follow home Bouvardere, which there will be, I think Global Citizen could well be that that one, Michael.
I disagree. I wouldn't be in Global Citizen. I thought I have this theory around Newbury races. If you get to the front, it's not really a theory. I think it's been proven. If you get to the front and stay there, you will stay there. I think Newbury, you're very, very flattered if you go to the front and stay there. And I think Lisp should have gone past Global Citizen. I think he was just very fortunate. You see that in quite a lot of the races, particularly over hurdles, not so much over chases, but over hurdles, horses stay there at the front. They can't catch them. I don't know why that is, but that's what I've kind of observed. So I think he was very much flattered by that. So I wouldn't be interested in Global Citizen at all. I like If the Cap Fits through since me and Callum were both in agreement. You know, we both thought he had a really good chance in the Supreme. Unfortunately, got injured. But I must admit, I think he needs at least 2.5 miles now. The way he ran at Ascot last time, I thought did not shout out like he wanted a drop-in trip to 2 miles at all. So I think that worries me quite a lot. And it's just outside Bouvidere. It is a good race because there's a lot of different independent factors. But I have to say, I think the market's probably got it right. In Verdana Blue, I think 2 miles is her trip. And that's probably where I'd go, which is quite boring, but it's not a particularly interesting betting race.
Verdana Blue already having a decent season as well, but quite a few different views outside of Bouvidere on who's going to follow home the short price favourite. We hope that we see another fantastic demolition job by Bouvidere once again as he looks forward to Cheltenham in March, taking a few Grade 1s along the way. Feature race of the festive period on these shores, at least, is the King George, where a few years ago, Callum, we were sat here saying that Thistlecrack versus Q-Card, a lot of people were saying it's a disappointing turnout. We didn't get the numbers. This season, very, very different story. This is a belter.
Yeah, it's very much a belter in the fact that it's just so open. I mean, you've got horses that have so much or something to prove, whether it be trip or well-being or coming off an absence. So there's certainly not a standout horse in this race. And yeah, I think that's what makes it such a fascinating renewal. I genuinely don't think I've made my mind up who I want to be on here. I think there's certainly horses I don't want to be on. I really like Waiting Patiently, but I cannot be on him coming off an absence. I cannot see him being ready for it. I think also he's got trip to prove as well. So I'm very happy taking him on for all. He's arguably maybe the best horse in this race now. I don't know if I can even say that now. I mean, given we got the 1-2 from the Gold Cup. I'm a little bit surprised to see Native River here. I thought he would probably go straight to Cheltenham or have a prep run beforehand. So I'm a little bit surprised to see him here. Obviously, he's going to jump from the front and try and beat out the rest from there. It's just whether he's got the speed for it when it comes to it. But at the same time, I think it's, like I said earlier, I think it's a bit of a fallacy that you do need. That it is just a speed test. I think you do need a lot of stamina as well. Might bite. It's just too concerning that first run. Yes, he would have needed it, but he finished really tired. And it's got to be a concern as a 9-year-old, also a horse that has looked tricky in the past. That he may have just gone sour. Look, this is going to be the test to see if he has, and you can't judge him on one run, but it just leaves that little doubt in my mind. There's no doubt if he returns to the form last year, or certainly the brilliance that he's shown before, I think he's the one to beat, because the test is probably his perfect test, whereas it isn't for others. But I'd just be a little bit concerned that he's not necessarily the same horse going 9-year-old into a 10-year-old now. I mean, Politolog is another one that could be interesting up in trip, but again, I don't like horses that are going up in trip in the King George. So I do think it's a stiffer test than we take it for. Bristol Demai, I think, is just such a Haydock specialist that I'm happy to take him on for all. There are grounds to say that 15-2 or 7-1 or so is overpriced. Thistlecrack, I'd want to see him over fences, but he really wasn't beaten far at Haydock, and he's a previous King George winner, so maybe he'd go on my shortlist. I mean, if you have to put me down to selection now, I'd probably edge towards either Native River or Thistlecrack, but I need to have a real proper look at it before I'd have a bet, and maybe not even a race I would have a bet in, because there's just no real need to. It's such a fascinating race without having to need a wager in it. But if you pull me down to a bet, I'd say either Thistlecrack or Native River.
Just a side question: if Altior were here, what price would he be?
Good question.
Who's?
definitely favourite. Definitely favourite. 6-4, 7-4.
I was thinking more towards 2-1 sort of thing, maybe a little bit, but
you'd have to factor in with Altior. It'd be his first go at 3 miles, and it's his first. He steps up a mile in trip essentially, so you'd have to factor that in.
But he's
how
so
brilliant
good.
he is.
He is so good, and he would be one horse, like, kind of contradicting myself, that I don't like backing horses going up in trip in this. He would almost contradict it because he's that good.
Yeah, I'd say it's a very different case when the horse is that classy, Adam.
He's an exception to the rule, Altior. It's kind of like, I'd look at him in the certain bracket of like a Corto Star who could go and win at any trip, 2 miles, 2.5, 3 at Grade 1 level at different tracks as well. He's just phenomenal, and we've gone off on a tangent.
I can't get away from Altior on the King George. I'm gutted he's not running this season, but next year we hope. I really fancy Might Bite. I really fancy Might Bite. He was shocking at Haydock last time at his reappearance. That's him. He does it every year. He won at Sandown in his reappearance, taking on 3 rivals and dominated things at Sandown last year, a couple of years ago, whatever it was. But I think out of his 3 reappearances, he's been beaten on every other one and improved massively going into his second effort. At Haydock, you watch him jump the first and you think he's got no chance. There's absolutely no way this horse can win this race, because he jumped the first like he'd never seen a fence before. Did the same at the second. He began warming up to things, but that was that with Might Bite. The one thing we know about him as well, not even the Gold Cup's going to be his Gold Cup. This is Gold Cup. This is the race they're aiming at every single year. We've got the likes of Waiting Patiently, who, as Callum said, fitness doubts, massive fitness doubts after we haven't seen him for so long, and trip doubts. The same with the likes of Politolog. Nathan River, whether this is really his track, I'm not 100% sure, especially in this sort of race. Thistlecrack has got a huge engine, but he jumped awfully as well, much like Might Bite at Haydock. And Bristol to Mai, can he do it away from Haydock? I think there are far less question marks about Might Bite. I think 3-1, Adam, is a bit of a Christmas gift.
I think that is very fair of him. Obviously, Haydock is in the back of your mind with him, but that said, Kempton's fences are much easier than Haydock's. And one of my favourite photographs of the year, and somebody asked me had it been photoshopped, is that one of Nicky Henderson at the final fence, where it's a long distance photo of him. And we opened up in the newspaper the other day, and the officer goes, that's got to be photoshopped. No, it's a real photo. Look, we know how brilliant Might Bite is. He'd have won the Corto Star 2 years ago by half a track had he not had a disagreement with Darryl Jacob at the last. He was workmanlike in this race last year, but I get the impression that this year the ground is going to be better for him, and I hope that they ride him a little differently. I actually hope that Nico just says to him, right, go on, show them what you've got, and just kill them from the front, which is one of his strongest assets that we saw, especially as a novice. He did it in the Corto Star and he did it in the RSA Chase. They kind of rode him a little differently last year just to sort of mind his wayward tendencies, but he didn't show any of them last year. At Cheltenham up the hill behind Native River, he stuck it at it all the way to the line. I don't question whether he's genuine or not. I think he's a very genuine horse, especially for Son of Scorpion anyway. His performance at Aintree was remarkable, considering how Bouvedere and Altior didn't really take Cheltenham that well. He had the hardest race Might Bite, came out and bolted up, beat Bristol to Mai. I am going to forgive him Haydock, and I think he's the one to beat. Plenty of these have question marks. Can't have Waiting Patiently as much as I love the horse. The trip's an issue, the layoff's an issue, and there's only one horse that I can recall that won the King George on his first try at 3 miles, and that was Desert Orchid when he was an unconsidered outsider back in 1986. And there's some very good horses that have tried 3 miles for the first time in the King George and not got home. Azertiop's an example. Well, not Cheating Votors an example. So you can get that. Remittance Man was another example for Nicky Henderson. Similar comments kind of apply to Politolog, although I think he would stay 3 miles. I've long been convinced that he's been a stayer. So the main threats to Might Bite for me would be Politolog, and I think Thistlecrack back over easier fences. I think they'll help him too, because he was sort of in the same mould as Might Bite. I don't think his jumping was as bad as people made it out to be at Haydock, and there was enough in that run to suggest that the old fire still burns, and it just wouldn't shock me if he was bang there at the finish. But I think Might Bite is the one to beat.
Just about Thistlecrack. He didn't run a bad race in this 12 months ago either. Was far from disgraced in that, and he seems better this time around. Michael, yourself?
Yeah, another difficult race, this one. I'm with Callum. I can discount a few, but it's hard to know where to go. I think the first thing you've got to do is pick out where the pace is going to come from. You've got Bristol de Mai, who I can't see Daryl Jacob being happy to take a lead from, considering how last year went and how well it goes at Haydock. He's not, even though and then they're not at Haydock, they're not going to want to change too much about the way he runs. So I'd be surprised if he's not up there. I'm making it out quite a big stamina test with Coneygree as well, who's not going to want to be far away at all. And then you've got the same could be said about Native River. I know Native River can probably just about sit off it, and that's why I think Might Bite. Actually, I think he's got a better chance if he doesn't try and compete with that pace battle. I think that would be a mistake if he did that. I know that horses can go around here from the front and just be electric, but if you're trying to fight it out, I think it'd be better if you sit in the slipstream. And that's why a horse like Thistlecrack really does tick a lot of boxes. I just have a fear for the jumping, really, and that's why I have to say this would be my tip: is to back Thistlecrack at 10-1, non-runner, no bet. With Bet 365 for the Stayers Hurdle, which I think is a hell of a price. Considering it's non-runner, no bet. I think if Thistlecrack went there, especially if tomorrow, if King George Day goes really badly for him, would go evens 2-1? There's, apart from Penn Hill, there's not much there, and the horses that are there and probably not going to run in that race. As for tomorrow, again, waiting patiently. I love that horse. I just think this is just too much to ask on a comeback. This is not just a grade 1. This is a grade 1 race. And Politolog, I just can't get behind. Native River, I don't think this is his track. So I probably would be plumping for Thistlecrack, even though I think I kind of, in a little bit way, I hope it doesn't go really well, because I'd like to see him in the Stayers, because I think he would, you saw what happened with West Approach at the weekend. I backed him at 40s, and I thought I really appreciate this step back down to hurdles, and he really did. And you think that's the lesser brother of the pair. If Thistlecrack went and did that, that would just be, he would have won it by 20 lengths, I think. I think that's an absolute fair comment to say, personally. I don't think it was the strongest of renewals, and Thistlecrack is far, far better than them. And the fact that he's that good over fences that he doesn't really enjoy, and he's still in there pitching, suggests a lot about the quality. And I think it's a real shame that he's not going to stay over hurdles for the rest of his career, and grow up a bit of a dynasty like Big Bucks Ingles Drever did. For this race, on the whole, very difficult. Probably wouldn't be betting, because I think it's an amazing spectacle. You don't need to bet in these races, but if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably still have a little bit on Thistlecrack.
Thistlecrack then for Michael. I don't think you were the only person either looking for Stayers Hurdles prices after the Betfair chase last time around. One more race to preview. Going to very quickly rattle through the Roland Merrick, because Michael is about to start crying because he has to leave and go hang out with his real life friends. The Roland Merrick, the 210 at Weatherby. Michael, we'll start with you. Wakanda at the moment heading the market.
Yeah, and I think if anyone watches this on a yearly basis, I did tip Wakanda last year because I thought the horse had been laid out for it, loves the track. Sue Smith, as we know, Luke's a big fan of, has laid him out for this, and he got beat a nose by a horse that I don't think I've seen running all year, called Get on the Jaeger, which is pretty upsetting. But I'm gonna renew the partnership. I think this is probably a better race than it was last year. Alison Montague, the race fell apart. He only finished 7th, and he was well beaten. But it's still Hennessy form. You've got to respect that. That's far better than what was available this time last year. And the same could be said about horses such as Creve Hill and Lakeview Lad. But I think it'll be between them two for me, Wakanda and Alison Montague. I'll stick with Wakanda because I think finally he's actually gonna win this after the near miss last year. But Alison Montague would be my chief danger, considering the prices. I know they're quite condensed, but Alison Montague is actually the outsider of the field, about 10-1. But that's the outside of the field is only 10-1, so it suggests they're all quite close together. And I think Alison Montague would be my second best.
I did back Alison Montague in the Labrooks Trophy, and he got a very much a waiting ride at the back, thinking, right, go on then. Yeah. Go on then. It never quite happened for him. He never really got into the contest, but this will be a lot easier for Alison Montague. And the fact, Adam, that we're talking about outsiders of the field shows how open the race is.
Yeah, it's a very open Roland Merrick. It looked a better race on paper before final entries. There were a couple of horses now I was quite interested in, but I have to agree with Michael. I thought Wakanda's run first time out over an inadequate trip over hurdles was a very fine effort. He's only £3 higher than when he was second in this, beaten by Get On The Jaeger, which I will be doing later on. He won the Skyvet Chase at Don. He only went up £2. That was a fantastic race. The excellent Warrior's Tale was in second, who won the Grand Sefton earlier in the year. Yeah, I think Wakanda's the one, and I'm rushing through this race, so Michael will be happy.
Callum.
Finally, it's only taken 8 years.
I'm going to take ages on this race, just in spite of my. It's for me, it's a bit of a disappointing renewal. I mean, it's certainly not the sort of competitive race that saw Definitely Red beating Wakanda, beating Black Lion 2 years ago, and last year's renewal was pretty poor. And I don't think this is a great race again. That saying, Wakanda, I think he's got a great chance of going one better than he has the last 2 years. He definitely deserves to be favourite. A pretty encouraging run, like you said, over a totally inadequate trip over hurdles. I think it's clearly been the plan to win this, and he's going to be the one to beat. I definitely think Alisson Monterg shouldn't be the outsider of the field, and if you push me at selection again, I go for him. I think you can pretty much ignore his first run of the season in the Ladbrokes Trophy. Very stiff task. I think this is obviously a much weaker race, and I think he was quite progressive last year from a handful of starts. I think he won quite nicely at Perth on his final start of the year. I think the ground or whatever comes up to him will be fine. And yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see him outside of the field. But so from a value perspective, I'd go for him, given he's still potentially unexposed over fences.
I think I'd agree with those sentiments from both you, Callum, and Michael. And Wakanda and Alisson Monterg are the two that I had this between. We mentioned at the start of the show, we do a Secret Santa every single year. Some presents are good. Some presents are terrible. Some presents are downright hilarious.
Some presents are mankinis.
So, yeah, I got a mankini last year. A lime green mankini as well. The best colour to have a mankini in.
Very nice.
Yeah, I wear it every day. Who wants to start off the present opening?
Not me. That's mine.
Well, Michael has misplaced his. Callum, we'll start with you. Obviously, you need to guess first who got you and yada yada.
I think this is from Mikey.
Hey! It was.
That's my guess out the window. Then I thought Michael got mine.
Luke thought it was me, but I was like, no.
Yeah.
And it is the most heavily packaged thing I've ever seen.
What was the name on the address?
Come back to me.
Come back to Michael, have you got yours now?
The name on
is Alan Sheikh Maidan Medel.
At least it was Shake, not Shake.
The one online, and I can't read it out.
At least it was Shake, not Shaker.
Yeah. Oh.
Rika.
What was that all for?
Too soon. Oh, there we go.
You're the one that's got to go back there.
We're in.
Oh, we got a mug. It's classic.
Oh, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a nap to be a mug.
In fairness, I think I've got a mug as well. That's why I thought it was Michael.
It is. I mean, it's quite clearly in the colours of Frankel. He's 15 lengths clear. It's a mug.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you very much, mate.
All right, you're welcome.
Really nice. Thank you.
Give it a wash out before you.
I mean, never
yeah, Michael.
Mine is His Royal Highness the Andrew of Michaels, and I'm pretty confident it's Adam.
It's not me.
No.
Oh, that means Adam's got me then.
Yep.
So it's from Callum.
I feel bad now.
The thing is, I know what he's got you, so I can't wait to see your face.
Oh, great.
I actually have no idea.
I always get punished for giving people funny presents, and this year I gave a really nice present.
Yeah. I like it.
Great. Oh, not again. Not again.
Not different.
Is it juggling boobs?
Got the other ones out. No, boobs.
A booby basketball.
To be fair, at least I can actually play with these, because the other ones were defunct.
I do have another present for you, but I couldn't get it delivered to you in time, so I decided.
Is this like a oh crap? He actually got me a nice present. So
yeah, it is a nice present compared to the other one. So
what is it?
I do have something.
I look forward to that.
It's coming from the Injured Jockeys Fund, so
Oh.
yeah, I'll well, next time I see you, I'll give you that.
Yeah, check Twitter
Aw.
to see what it is. Adam, do you want to open yours first, or shall I go?
You go, and there's 2 presents for you. If
Yeah, which one am I opening first?
either one. One of them was a suggestion from a long-time viewer, because I didn't have a clue what to get you when I got your name, and then I thought of a second one which I thought you would really like.
Well, my guess is it's a mug and a calendar.
Not a calendar, but you're on
calendar.
the right track.
I actually know what it is, so
it's
Yeah.
definitely a mug.
Callum and Adam, you need to stop talking about what you're getting people.
Well, when you were going
Right, the mug.
that's what
Is this a picture of Grandaway on a mug?
Am I the only one who doesn't like
Yeah, it is.
talk to people about who's got who?
I got Grandaway on a mug, and with my old Twitter tag.
that's brilliant. Yeah.
You can take it to work with you, and you can be reminded every day of your past demeanours.
I've also got a cup of tea. A tea bag with it.
Oh, very nice.
Tea bag with it. I've actually got to make the cup of tea, but
Now, this second one was a suggestion from someone, so I hope you like it.
is someone like Derek Gamblepun or something?
Herridge,
No.
not Herridge.
Is it Herridge?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Herridge. Yeah,
the only
Herridge.
person you
Yes, it is.
talk to.
Hashtag Bay.
Why is it
Yeah,
in
the
it?
only person I talk to. Yeah, the only friend I have.
Sorry, I've just opened this, and I've got another one to open.
What a treat.
It's gonna be like one of
I
those
think you'll
dolls.
like it.
Yeah, it's a
I hope you
doll.
Wow. It is a picture of WWE wrestler Alexa Bliss, who is delightful.
Thank you,
Me
Herridge.
and Harry have shared many conversations about how nice her hair is.
Oh, and other things, I'm sure.
Like, where did you get this from?
Where did I get it from? Amazon.
Like, is it actually signed by her, or
I don't know. It's from Amazon.
either that or someone's just written her name underneath it?
I'm sure she signed it herself.
Is that what they really look
I
like?
was absolutely,
Look at Michael's
absolutely
face.
flummoxed, and I just said to Herridge, "Do you know something I could get him?" And he goes, "Yeah, order this and don't ask any questions." But I asked every question with the sun.
Yes.
Well
Good boy.
done, Michael.
Adam, to you.
I am not reading the name on this before we go any further.
Adam of Wellington.
No, it's worse, but it looks promising.
I'm actually really happy with this.
Really?
Yeah, this is a genuine present.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome. This is going on my wall, this is. Oh, thank you.
That's where you usually put
Thank you,
photos.
Buzz.
Oh,
That's really nice.
That's pretty cool.
Makes a nice change at Christmas, because normally in this I get horrible presents. But
Yeah.
thank you very much. I will
I
put that
did-
proud on my wall.
I did try and edit you out, but it wouldn't let me.
Well, Matt Wynn was on one of these. I don't think he'd be very pleased to see that you've edited him out.
No,
so-
that wasn't the picture with Win.
Ah,
We
I
had
was going to
pictures.
say he'd be very disappointed if it was the one with him.
Yeah.
But
We
yeah,
have-
thank you very
Make
much. I
sure-
like that.
make sure you wipe it clean after use, Adam.
Wow.
You're the person meant to say it to, not me.
We are
Yeah.
getting off track.
You gave me a boob.
Is it just the one boob as well? Or?
It's really small. The other ones I had last time were like massive, like proper like.
Yeah, I thought it'd be nice.
This one's less like intimidating. I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
It's-
not going to be too mean. Jesus.
It's more of a moob.
It was Adam's idea, so.
Can you two
What?
stop talking to each other?
Oh,
It's
he was struggling for
really
ideas.
the
So...
night, and I was like, I need to get Michael something. And then, like, yeah, it just materialized. And I literally ordered it while I was in the.
Yeah, I mentioned juggling boobs as I remembered your reaction. So I was like, Callum was like, let's see if we can get something along them lines. So I was like, oh, all right then. Oh, this is perfect.
So I
Yeah,
typed
there we
in
go.
boobs into Google, and a lot of things came up.
And you really regretted it, didn't you, Callum?
I was on the internet today, and I found this.
on incognito mode. Very quickly, a few questions and thoughts to rattle through. Mark Mackay says, I don't get mentally calm at 4 to 5. The Chase debut beat a horse who got hammered next time. His hurdles form is less and less convincing as time progresses. The Supreme looks a weak race. Both his market rivals have far stronger Chase form, in my opinion. Huge lay for me. Adam?
I agree. I don't like the horse. I don't like him one bit. He was impressive meeting fences off long strides at Punchestown. I actually want to see him go into a fence and shorten, meet them on different strides. Leopardstown's not really the place for that. You can meet fences quite long, but then when you get to the Arkle where you can't meet a fence on the same stride, that's where I'd be worried about him. And plus, I'm not convinced by his attitude either. He had his quirks on the flat. He ran out at this meeting 12 months ago. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Kalashnikov all the way for the Arkle anyway.
Kalashnikov. Well, we've got to him already. Tony Amato says Banker for Boxing Day is Rintilla at 9-4 at Huntingdon, was third on debut at Bangor. Will come in a bundle, and I know they like him a lot. Tony Amato, thank you very much for getting in touch with us, and thank you once again for your continued support, gentlemen. This brings the year to a close.
Already? That's quick.
Yeah, because you didn't talk a lot this time.
Yeah, I know. I listened to Michael for once.
Thank you.
What about naps? Hang on, naps. We haven't done naps.
Oh, no, naps. Yeah, naps. Okay, Adam, you go. Adam, go.
Shit. Yes, 1 o'clock at Wetherby. And this is something that will be Michael's naughty lucky 15 if he'd done one. But a horse called Dorking Cock, who is trained by Tom Lacey. He's a free runs over hurdles, and he just looks a very interesting handicap project. And he's a nice horse, actually.
Do you know what the Dorking Cock is? Do you know what a Dorking Cock is?
A pub horn, isn't it?
It's a big cockerel that's on a roundabout as you enter Dorking.
Oh, right.
It gets decorated for Christmas. It gets decorated for Christmas every year and vandalised.
Oh.
It is a very impressive cock, Michael.
Fair enough. But a bit of a naughty looking 15 anyway, but I just think he's a well handicapped horse. Interesting project.
Callum, have you been able to find a nap in the last minute?
I'll probably go for Bag's Groove and the Corte Star Feltham, whatever it's called.
Michael?
Thistlecrack, non-runner, no bet, 10-1 for the.
No, you can't nap months in. No.
And it's non-runner, no bet, so actually you can't lose.
Do better.
I'll go with Callum then. I think we both kind of gave the same amount of chat, and I when he was saying that, I'm nodding, so I'll go Bag's Groove, and maybe that'll come off.
Lamp on leads.
Was that meant to be Irish?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna go for Mike Bite in the King George. 3-1-ish. I think Mike Bite will win back to back at King George's. Wow. Get out of him, Adele.
Can I plug one thing before we go?
Ah, for goodness sake.
If you've not done it yet, I would. If you're bored on Christmas Day and you've got a spare hour and a half to spare, I wrote a quiz for the Final Furlong podcast, and Callum's already done it and was very complimentary about it. So if you're bored on Christmas Day and you want to tear your hair out at something completely different, go listen to that because it is impossible to do.
It is very good. And I'm not just saying that because I put some of the questions in for him. So
yeah, you didn't get a mention either.
No, brutal. But it was really good. It was really good.
Well done, guys.
Sounds like they stole a bit of our idea, doesn't it, Luke? I think
my pod or yours. Christmas quiz for the last 2 years, and my pod or yours didn't exist before their previous 2 Christmas quizzes. So
my pod or yours is past, present, and future. I think you'll find.
True, mine is past, present, and future.
Just like
look, there were questions in there that I think Luke could be very impressed with. Namely 22 and 26, but you have to go and listen to it to go and find out what they are.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
On that note, I guess we'll never know. Guys. Guys, thank you very much for coming back this year. I'll see you in about a year's time because we don't actually talk to each other in between these shows.
I don't think Adam exists outside of his little box cell that he's currently.
Yeah, that's why we were really worried when he dropped away at the start of the call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the wardens come round again.
Oh God.
Adam, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
No, that's it. That's all you have to say. There's no extra.
Santini wins the RSA next year. There you
go. Callum, happy Christmas.
Thanks. I want to thank God. I want to thank the Lord God. He's gone. He's gone.
God has struck down upon him.
Because without him, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here. I'd like to thank Mum and Dad as well. Mum and Dad. Mum, who hasn't made an appearance this year, actually.
No,
Much
our parents.
much
That's
sought
the thing as
after.
well. Before we
Hmm?
go, it was our fifth anniversary this year.
Yay!
5 years on the other hoof, you poor people.
On the Other Hoof is catching up with our mental ages. Michael, happy Christmas wherever you are. There he is. He's changed. He's actually changed. And from us four to everyone, thank you very much for the help and support you've given us on the Other Hoof over the years. Have a very, very good Christmas. Have a lovely new year as well. We'll see you in around 12 months' time to the hour. Until then, happy Christmas. Stay safe.